What's going on, everybody? Friday night talk time. Friday night talk. Once again, we are here every Friday at 5:30. Running a little late today. Had to get something to eat. I was hungry. Long day at work. So we got a treat tonight. So before we get into who we got on, who's going to come on and talk to us a little bit, like I said, every week we get some new people. We talk about things that's going on around the world, how you feeling, all the things that matter to you as a person, and just a space to let you be free, let you talk about what's going on and how you feel about it, and somebody to listen to, right? I always tell the first we started doing this because a buddy of mine called his buddies on live, and I thought it was a good idea, and I told him, hey, I'm gonna start doing it on my Facebook Live during the quarantine. We picked it up, and now we have upgraded to StreamYard, where we can bring multiple people on to talk to each other at the same time. I am happy about that. So election is less than 60 days. We still really ain't dig into uh, the Joe Biden Harris ticket. We hopefully somebody talk about that and touch on that a little bit today. Hey April, I see you, baby. How are you today? So let's see what else. Everybody know that I'm in my DSW program. Take my little 2 minutes to talk about myself. Had a hard time with it this week. Through the first two semesters, we identified the problem, which is my problem is identifying behavioral health problems inside of African American boys and what that causes. Trying to find a solution to help them cope with some of those behavioral health issues, like the dropout rate, the prisoner pipeline system, uh, some obesity. Hey, Fernie, some of the things that African American boys go through to hold them from being successful. So I figured I'd tackle some of that. But this week, the last semester, we kind of worked into, hey, what could be a solution? And I wrapped my mind about, coming up with a solution with the program using sports. And I was all excited about that. And then this semester, we have to go back to the problem because as a doctoral student, you got to be an expert within it. So I had to go back to the problem, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But we'll work it out. I'll be okay. So I'm 3 semesters in. I defend my capstone this semester, so I can be a candidate, and I'm excited about that. And then after this one, I got 3 more to go, and we on out another black man with a doctoral degree. Let's do it. So let's see what else. If you look at my fabulous ticker, see my ticker down there, y'all. That's how you request your mail-in ballot if you are in Maryland. So you text BBM, you text 77788 VBM to that number, and that'll send you your mail-in ballot request form via text. You'll be able to fill it out. Takes about a good 5-10 minutes. You have to have your driver's license number and all your social security address and all that stuff. Make laws that match. They'll put in a request for you and send it right to you. So I did mine's. I think I did mine's last week. Let's see how long it take. It didn't get here. Yeah, so last Friday. So last Thursday, I did mine. So we'll see how long it takes. But let's see who we have let's see who we have inside of the room today. Sophie, whoever you bring on first, sweetie. I think if Prince is on one, let's see. Savon. What's going on, brother Savon?
Hey,
Can you hear me? Hey,
how's it going? How's it going?
man, it's going good, man. I feel like I ain't seen you in three
Can
months
you
in
hear
a
me?
Sunday.
Yeah.
I can, I can hear you. So you breaking up a little bit.
I think it just been 3 months, man.
It's been 3 months. Okay, no Sunday.
Oh man. Yeah, no, no Sundays, no Sundays.
Well, what's going on first, man? Like I do every Friday. Tell the people how you know me.
Oh man, well, I met this guy when I was going to Wilberforce University. University, that's in Ohio, the first private HBCU in the country. Don't listen to anybody else about what they'll say. Um, I hold that school very near and dear to my heart, and Mr. Brown is one of those reasons as to why. I think he was my first, step into manhood. I'm still, very much trying to figure things out, but I always have him to call on. He made me start feel like a lot more confident in myself, and just bringing out the Savon in me. So it's always much appreciated whenever I can you know take whatever I can from him. So
Come on,
everybody,
man. No need,
like,
no need
if
for
you're listening,
tears on the show tonight. Come on, bro.
just make sure it's some good knowledge here.
I will say, man, I appreciate it. So since you told, I'm gonna tell everybody how I met
All
Mr.
right,
Howard. Mr. Howard
we'll do it.
is,
We'll do it offline.
yeah. Mr. Howard is a special man, and he know how I feel about him. So, hey, man, but thanks again. Thanks for coming on. Like, what's going on over in your end? You in Virginia, so what's going on over in Virginia? It's a lot of racism and a lot of animosity going on in the world. What's going on your end? You don't want to talk to me, Howard? Say, can you hear me? All right, Fee. Well, I guess we're gonna have to hit Say back. Tell Say to hang up. Say hang up and call back in so we can see if we can get a better connection. All right, he heard that. So what he didn't say, well, what I'm gonna say on for him, one of my one of the smartest young men. I don't know if you guys have ever rolled up on a young person and be like, man, that little boy gonna be something, or he's smart, or that's the first time, you're not the first time, but you can just see like that's one of the kids that just needs some kind of guidance. Not saying that I gave it to him, but I was always there free, willing to talk to him, make sure he knew what he didn't know. He had a perception about the world that was a little different, and I just try to talk to him and help him. But brilliant. I hope we get him back. I hope the connection is a little better because that young man, I think he's 24, 25. Say sorry, 25. No, Skeet's 26. So he's 26 years old. So but I hope he come back on. I hope he got a better connection so we can talk to him. All right, Fee, let's see who's next tonight. Ha. Mr. William Steenfair, how are you?
What's going on, my brother from another? How are you?
Man, I can't complain. It's Friday night. We get to talk to the people. And I thought it'd be a treat to have you on tonight. So, like I do every Friday, tell the people how you know me, and we'll start our conversation.
Well, first, thank you for allowing me to get dressed on a Friday. This new Zoom, you gotta make sure the background is clean and everything, and you got on clean clothes. So, thank you. I was able to take a shower today. Uh, so, my goodness, Mr. Brown and I go back many, many years. I was actually at that time in my life, I was a Prince George's County police officer. I was assigned to the community policing division, and I was a, a strong presence in the high schools in the area that I patrolled. And Mr. Brown attended one of the schools that I kind of favored, which was Forestville High School at that time, turned into Military Academy. And from that moment on, from high school, we've connected through college and through grad school and through life, and just a phenomenal young man. I was glad that God allowed me to connect with, and we're still connected. And that's
With,
very short. That's very short because we could have taken about 20 minutes to talk
yeah,
about.
with how we go back and how we connect and where we going. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we could all, yeah, we'd be here all day. We'll take up the show. So we
Yes,
ain't
yes.
gonna.
Well, I think as you are with Savion, I think that's how I feel about you.
And that's why I wanted him to be on with us. I called him after I called you. Was like,
Okay.
let me see if we can get on, because I wanted to kind of talk about mentorship and menteeship and
Yeah.
relationships on that platform. But before I get to that, maybe Savon to be back in time for us to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
What I didn't plan on talking about, but I think it'd be a good topic while we have you, is that community police officer
Okay.
position that you had at Forestville, and how it could be looked at negative and how it turned out to be very positive. I'll give you my perspective on how I saw Mr. Williamstein, and then, but I wanted you to talk about it because you was living it. And I saw a video earlier that was kind of disturbing, where one of my friends was kind of going at the police, and it was a little disturbing. But I know
Sure.
how I feel and how I would react, and know in this time and how this tension is right now. It is good to have a retired Georgia County police officer on deck, right? So let's talk about that part first.
Okay. Where do you want to start? You know,
Let's talk about, how did you feel working? Because Forestville wasn't it wasn't a preppy school. Like, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't one of those schools where you'd be like, yeah, this is my first choice. Like, I know you probably got assigned, but how did you feel when you got there, and how was the process with the students?
so when I started with Forestville, that was before the school resource officers that you hear so much about now. And though I connected with other schools in the area, what drew me to Forestville is that the area that I had my office, and let me take you back to community policing. When we started community policing, we actually had officers that were assigned to have their office in a particular area. Um, when I started, the apartment complexes in the community offered a vacant unit for the police officer to have his or her office. So my office was in Capitol Heights, it's actually off of Marlboro Pike. So Forestville came into line because the majority of my community, which was Capitol Heights and down off of Southern Avenue, they were actually bused to Forestville. And so I just kind of followed the students because I felt that they saw me in the community, in their neighborhood, and then they saw me at school, it would improve that relationship. And it did. It did. I mean, you talk about mentorship. I mean, I picked up a number of students from Forestville that also lived in the community, and they were able to connect on a more personal level and less of a professional level. And that changed their mentality and my mentality when it came to interacting with the youth of that day.
It's and having, I know I got some Forestville nights on here, so I'm gonna be easy on how we were in school. But at that time, having being seen with an officer could have got you into trouble with your peers. Like, even if you weren't doing anything, it's just like, oh, he hanging out with the police. We can't be around them, or we're gonna pick on them. We're gonna fight, or it's gonna go and escalate to something that you're not even thinking about. So being able to say that I befriended the police officer was like, I don't know if this is good or bad. Like, I don't know how I feel about it, but the person that you were, and I tell this people all the time, like, underneath the uniform, it's a person, and that person comes out first. And I know they have a job to do in the streets and things like that, but it's still a person. So you had me to realize that it was you a person at the end of the day. You just trying to get home, and you had food for thought and words of wisdom for a young man who I thought I knew it all pretty much. Like, I got this. The world ain't gonna take me over because I can do this. But just listening to you and you being there for me, just for, just to hear me vent and then get me back online was a plus. And you had on a uniform and a badge, which was out of everybody's comfort zone. And I know my friends are on here that know our relationship. Like, he's still talking to Steen. Like, they probably feel like he's still talking to the police. Like, so, but it was an interesting dynamic for 14, 15. Ooh, seeing you older, man. 14, 15-year-old.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
wisdom. I appreciate you.
Right, right.
14,
I'm trying to
15
hide the gray with the hat. Thank you for bringing that up, though.
to be able to have a relationship with the police at the end of the day. And I appreciate that. And I'm sure, somebody listening, if your kid is able to have a connection with an officer like this, you'll appreciate what we're going through, trying to find alternative ways. Because I think community policing is a good option if they do it in the right way.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, and certainly we're going through some trying times today in reference to the relationship that the community has with the police officers. But even in that day, when I was a community officer and going to Forestville, that was just on the back end of the crack epidemic. And so you're right. I mean, the fact of sometimes you thought as a police officer, you left your deodorant off because when you showed up, nobody wanted to talk to you, nobody wanted to look at you, nobody wanted anything to do with you. And in some aspects of the police work, that's warranted. But in other aspects, especially when it dealt with the community, that was a barrier. That was a huge barrier for us to overcome. I look at my assignment almost as I look at even a teacher's assignment. Some people go into it because that's their calling, and some people go into it because the benefits. And for me, I wholeheartedly believe it was my calling, and I've always viewed the people I've interacted with as people. And one of the things that I always used to say, even to ride-alongs, if you will, that I had with me, is that I may not love what you do, but I still love you. And separating that made the difference in the connection that I think a lot of them never heard before. And so one of the one of the funny things that I heard through the grapevine, if you will, is that nobody wanted to get locked up by steam because it's like being locked up by your father.
Yeah.
Because on the way to the station, you get a lecture, and folks would be transported to the holding facility, and they come in crying. And the officers would be like, "Did you hit him? Why is he crying? Why is he crying?" He's like, "No, I just told him I was disappointed." so, so it does make a difference. It does make a difference. And I did transfer after our relationship. I did transfer into Forestville as a school resource officer, and that's a whole different subject. It does help when you have a positive relationship with the officer, and it's not just about being a quote unquote snitch, as a lot of people would say, but being able to seek somebody that is trained professionally and get honest information from. And that's something that I fear that we don't have a lot of right now.
So I don't know if he listening, but Mr. Menace and you, I tell everybody when I'm talking to the people that I was like, you guys saved my life.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you know me, I wasn't a bad kid, wasn't it? I was
Until I read your book, I didn't realize how bad you were. But go ahead.
Right. I was driven to succeed. That's what I keep telling. I was just trying to find different ways without going to jail, how to be a success, and which you just don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And without you two kind of sitting me down and talk to him, you, Mr. Morris, and Mr. Minnie,
Yeah.
all kind of set me down separately and together sometimes, and just kind of broke down how life should be and how you should look with a start. And that was more helpful than anything I can do. But I know we wanted to talk more, but we running on almost 20 minutes. So I'm gonna bring somebody else in because I told them I wasn't gonna keep them long, and I'm gonna see if he's still here so I can shout out. I do a black business every week, so I like to shout out a black business every week. Let me see if he's still on one, so I can shout out because I think he's on vacation, and then we're gonna finish our conversation.
Okay.
So Fee, if Prince is there, could you bring Prince on? Let's see. No Prince. Okay, all right. Did Howard come back? How about that? Hey, there we go.
There he is.
Hey, Say, how are you?
Hey, you guys, can y'all hear me now?
Look
Yeah,
at
we can
that.
hear you.
Look at
My
that.
bad. I had to make sure I got back to the house.
Yeah, we're cool. I'm glad you had. Look. Well, you know this guy on the line with us.
Yeah,
So
nice to see you, Steve. Nice to
What's
hear your
going
voice,
on?
man.
What's going
Yeah.
on, Savion, man? Look
Uh,
at you.
how's everything been?
Oh man, you know we're still making things happen out here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Congratulations
sir.
on all your success, man. I've been following you from afar, but I'm so happy and
It's all
so
good.
proud of you, bro.
Thank you so much, sir.
so say me and Steen were talking about how we met through community police officer, and which was in my high school. So that's
Mhm.
how I met Steen. And I don't know if I ever told you that, but it was through a community police officer
Oh,
through my high school. And his mentorship has pretty much set me in this seat right now to be able to talk to you, because I was afraid to speak publicly. If anybody could believe that, I didn't. If it wasn't sports or girls, I ain't want no parts of it. Like it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
one or the other. But he kind of opened me up to let me know that hey, some other things would be possible. So say I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish, but you got to tell everybody how you met me again, because you were doing chopping. So we got to
Oh,
start from. All
that's my
right.
bad. All right, so
Okay.
Mr. Brown, he was my mentor, actually the very first mentor that I had. We met at Wilberforce University, first private HBCU in Wilberforce, Ohio. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Um, Mr. Brown actually brought out like my confidence, that strength in being who I was. And he was my first, my first peak, first foray into like trying to be a man, because I never actually had that that example in front of me. Not a good man, at least. I knew everything that I was not supposed to do, but Mr. Brown was able to show me those positive things that men can add to other people's lives. Um, and he also showed me like how to like just go and get stuff, like stuff that I want. So that's something that I'm always trying keep with me. But yeah, everything that I've learned from you, it's always been good information. Even if it's kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, man. So I appreciate you, and hopefully I can continue to be a sponge.
Well, you have been since day one. If you could, or thing, you kind of, when I introduced you to Savon, you kind of, that was like his first year of us really meeting.
Yeah.
And if you knew him, remember him then, and you
Oh
see
man.
him now,
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
it's
even
night and day, night and day. I mean,
Yeah.
all of this, and then he's all of that, and
Okay. Okay. Okay.
night and day, night
look,
and
I'm gonna see if I can find some of those early pictures when he was behind the marketing desk,
No,
day.
thank you. No, thank you.
like
I
a
don't even
proud
need
parent.
it.
Right. So, Savon, before you jumped off and got disconnected, I was sharing that I'm proud of you, because um, your confidence in yourself, which is the most important thing ever to me, has grown leaps and bounds. And anything that you put your hands on, I've always told you you're gonna be successful at anything you do, is because you had a drive. You was one of the smartest men that I've ever seen at any age that I've ever met, and you just needed some guidance on how to get there. And I'm proud of you on the way
Yes,
that
sir.
you're doing things now and where you're gonna go. So,
Yes, sir.
but Savon, I could not have done any of that or said any of that without the man that's on the line today. So
Understood.
I I I wholeheartedly believe that we are going to talk about mentorship and menteeship. And Steen, since you the senior on the line, you got to go first on how you feel and your thoughts about it, and then we'll let Savon talk about his perspective on how it goes, and then I'll give a little piece.
Yeah, it is really it's sobering when you look at the after, because while you're in the midst of it, and while you're going through it, and while you're actually dealing with your mentee, it's frustrating, it's tiring, um, but I am thankful that God has allowed me to live long enough to see the fruits of my labor, because when we met years ago, I would have never envisioned you as being, and I will claim it, Dr. Antwan C. Brown. That was the furthest thing from my mind, and as you mentioned, with me being a police officer, I had a great relationship with Menace, who was the investigator counselor through school security. and he was a great mentor to so many students there as well. And so it really is it really is humbling and sobering after. But while you're going through it, you just hold on to that vision that you have, and you see, as you shared about Savion, you see that talent, you see that gift that sometimes they don't even see themselves. I can't tell you how many of my mentees have come to me and said, nobody ever told me that they were proud of me. Nobody ever spent time, nobody ever cleared their schedule for me. And just doing that made the difference in their life, because now they had somebody to hold them accountable and that they did not want to disappoint. So it was a, kind of a give get. I had some mentees that just, didn't get it. Um, but I didn't let that stop me from mentoring. I mean, the saying that we hear so often, that it takes a village is true. I don't believe it's up to one individual to raise anybody, male or female, from birth to death. I think you have to have mentees throughout life, whether it's in business, whether it's in coaching, in athletics, whether it's, just in life, to help guide you through their experience.
So say when you hear that, and we still going through it, because I'm still going through it too. So don't think you by yourself. He gets on me any chance I get if it don't look right. So
Right before this call, yes.
right before the call. So don't think that I'm just passing it on. But how do you feel about mentorship, about our relationship, about any of that you want to talk to on that?
I mean, it's much needed. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that my dad was never there, because he was, like, there was a vacuum, there was a void left. When it came to the dynamic between him and my mother, and then trying to maintain a relationship with the rest of my siblings. I've got 6 other siblings, and we kind of like all wanted so much from him, and he just did not have that, because I don't believe he really had the mentorship that I would get from either of you fellas. So I think it was necessary to even get a different view, because my dad, he grew up in Florida. He moved to Georgia for a while, but it was still Florida thinking, and to see how somebody else thinks, and kind of put all that stuff together. I don't think I would be as successful as I am today. And not to say that I'm like at the end of the line or anything like that, but I do know it could have been much different had I not met somebody that was a forward thinker, somebody that wasn't always reactive, and somebody who was just like vulnerable enough to share those hard things that nobody really wants to talk about, in order for me myself to apply it to my own life. But I think at any age, if somebody has not found a mentor, you kind of have to, because we can't be our own mentors and therapists. It's just not possible. It's kind of like cyclical if you want to start to get into that kind of stuff. Thinking you're doing everything right. There's just some stuff you cannot see. So it's important to have somebody like that.
You're absolutely right. And once again, that's why when I talked to Steen and Steen agreed, I immediately called Savon so we can all so people can see that it doesn't stop. Like I'm gonna be in Savon's life for the rest of his life, the rest of my life. Things I'm gonna be in his life. We're gonna be here. We all connected in some way. And through through all the trauma that Black people are going through, I thought it would be good to see generations all together, all as Black men in different settings, in different points in their lives, all for people to see this, because I think it's powerful. I was being sappy at the time, and I wanted to show off my mentee and my mentor at the same time. And I don't care if anybody doesn't like it. So I have one more mentee that I want to bring in, and I'm gonna bring him in because he's doing some special things. Hey Prince, how are you, man?
Man, what's going on, fellas? How everybody doing today?
What's going on, man?
Hey.
Everybody good. So Prince, tell the people how you know me, and then we going do our thing because I want to shout you out because I know you on rest and relaxation, and I don't want to hold you up.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for even giving me the opportunity to be on this platform with you guys, man. I want to say thank you for that first, most and foremost. Mr. Antwan, man, this guy right here, man, he knew me since J High. He used to work inside the rec center inside William Beans over there in Suitland Community Center. And since then, just been locked in with us, man. He sent a couple of guys to college. Up in Lipstone. Now he's working inside the White House. A good friend of him named by Eugene. He done watched me blossom into who I am right now as far as me making a difference, starting my own nonprofit, as things like that of that nature. So he definitely has been a good module for us inside the community.
Prince, man. Prince he thought he could play ball, so we had to
got a little bit.
But Prince, man, I brung you on. Like I said, I know you in Vegas and you doing your thing. Thanks
first time, folks. First time.
I can't hold you up. But Sting, Prince has an organization called Making a Difference. He calls it MAD. He's out on the streets. He giving out food to the homeless. He got rap groups. Like, he is doing everything that you will want to see within his age category that makes us both proud. So I definitely want to shout out my Black business owners today. And Prince, I wanted to spotlight you on the things you want to do. So tell everybody what you're doing, where they can find you at, how they can connect and come out and help, because, you know, there's people out here that's looking to do stuff, and I wanted them to connect with you to be able to do it.
Okay, just thank you again. So to reiterate what Twan said, so I do have a nonprofit that I started by the name of MAD, M-A-D, which stands for Making a Difference. So whatever that in life will frustrate you, what can you do to just make a difference about it? So if you had a bad day the day before, what you want to do today to make a difference about that? So if you're frustrated, anything to turn that frown into a smile, let's try to do that. So we go back into the less fortunate neighborhoods. And this year alone, we done passed out over 10,000 meals to the less fortunate. We also went to feed the homeless last weekend to over 75 meals. We gave that and care packages, which was full with hygiene products, toilet paper, tissue, underwear, hygiene, all things of that nature down there right by Union Station. We did that about 2 weeks ago. Like he said, the rock group. So I got some young guys that I mentor. I also coach football. So with the DMV Knights. So a couple of guys, I've been raising them since they was 5 years old. They're actually going into 12, 13-year-old this year. And, you know, one way of us as brothers, you know, we like to make music, you know, to relieve our expression and things like that. So it's everything that's been taken away from them as far as the basketball, as far as the sports, whatever things that you can do, and them being at home now trying to learn a whole nother routine and just things of that nature, just a way to give us some way of an outlet, right? So, and they do things through music without cussing and representing their families through things like that to show them is another way to avenue. Same thing as you want to be as a rapper, you can take that to making video, so wherever you want to show your vision, and that thing can take you all around the world. You don't just have to be here in the DMV. That can take you wherever you want it to be, right? So just to try to show them another way to do anything that's out here and to make a difference. So that's what I usually do. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, all through the city. I'm everywhere, man. So wherever you need me at, I'm trying to be there. So anywhere I can make a difference, that's where I'm at.
So Princess Felicia is the best. She already put your information in the chat box. So y'all
see, that's why I love it. That's why I love it.
Your information is in the chat box. So if y'all need to follow or want to come out and volunteer, because don't have him out here doing it alone. He definitely is on my team. Whenever I need him, he'll come through and help me with anything I need. So before you step off, Prince, we talking about mentorship, because Savon, who I know you was here, was my mentee, and Mr. Steen there is my mentor. So
okay,
talk a little bit about mentorship before you jump on.
Okay. So as far as what you want to know, as far as what more you want me to elaborate on, if I could just make sure I'm saying the right thing.
Do you have one or two? Is anybody, you have any mentees? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, so it's like I say, so the young guys those are basically my mentees. So I got those. I also got 3 young ladies as well. So we take them out. We might just, like I took them to the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Just things like that to get them out as well too. So I just mentor people as I go. And I'm looking forward to having a mentor as well, because us as men, we don't really have that, right? So we had that here and there. It's a stigma in between it. So it always draws a line. So that's where it comes at now, even with us as, you know, for me talking to the youth, and it's a little bit different than somebody else because they don't really trying to give them no gaps. Everybody's really out here for self instead of really trying. We all need each other. Like you just say, it takes a village and everything like that. Like people say, well, you can't lead a horse to water. Well, you actually can if you put some salt in the hay. He gonna go drink, right? But you got to make it for him to be just like class. If you make it fun for him, they're gonna learn something if you make fun. But if you make it, you just drilling in their head, it's not gonna work like that. So I'm all for it.
Look, I'm gonna have to write that one down.
Yeah,
Put
I'm about to say,
salt
thanks
in
for
there.
the knowledge. Thanks for the knowledge. You just spent some knowledge. You just got to put some salt in the hay. That's what we doing now.
You learned that in Zoolin over at William Beans.
Yeah, we learned.
Man, I'm a good listener, man. When somebody listen, it gets stuck inside that brain. So, like I said, mentor just learned.
Hey, man, but listen, I want to thank you because I know anytime you ask me for something and you always an active listener, like you said. So, thanks for always being in my life, brother. I appreciate you. I love you. You keep doing great things on the industry. And then when you get back from your R&R, let's get up, let's relax, let's chop it up and see what's next.
Yes, sir. All right, good. You guys be safe out there. I definitely again appreciate you guys, man. Like I said, it's an honor to be on this platform to be with you guys right here, man. You guys keep doing what you're doing out there and continue to make a difference.
Well, you keep up the great work, man, and I'll definitely be looking you up.
Yes, sir. You guys have a blessed.
You too.
All right,
man.
That's one of, as you see, that's one of my William Beans guys.
Yeah. Well, horses and hay.
Yeah, horses and hay. So I bumped into him a couple years ago, and he was like Twan, because I hadn't seen him in so many years. And he was like, man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, man, I'm proud of you. He goes, well, it's because of you. And I was like, what I do? He's like, you showed me that people are good people for no reason. So my fun fact at William Beans is I coach, I think they were 13, maybe the 13, 14-year-old team. One of the basketball players that played for the Knicks at the time was Stephon Marbury. He had just came out with some brand new shoes at Sports Authority, but the shoes were only $10. So he was a superstar. It was $10, and the colors of the Knicks matched William Beans. So I was like, man, I got $140. I can go buy all $14 on 14 players some brand new shoes to match their uniforms. So we came out, we looking sporty. I don't think they know they only cost $10.
I think somebody mispriced those things, man. I think they're supposed to be $100.
They were, but
they were popular too.
He said they were only going to bring them out at $10. So he brought them out at $10, and I wouldn't bought them the whole thing. And he was like, that's the first time somebody actually gave him something that wasn't looking for something in return.
Yeah,
that's not his words, but in a paraphrase. So I appreciate it. Every time I see them guys at William Beans, they all, late 20s, early 30s now, which I'm like, man, I'm getting old. Like, y'all guys are little kids. Like,
yeah, welcome. Come into the club. Come on. We have room for you.
Right? No, I'm not ready. But
go ahead, Xavier.
Go say.
I was asking how Soul's doing.
So we're gonna try to get Soul's big time, man. He work in the White House.
Yeah, I know.
Always around the world. So that's who Prince was talking about. He called him Eugene, but he was talking about Soul.
Right.
So we'll get Soul. Soul, if you watching, we need you out here to tell us all the good things that you're doing, especially because he's really active in the political realm where he's out at major protests. He's out with these actors and artists. And man, if anybody is proud of that dude, I'm proud of him. But I'll let him tell that story later because I can't get through that story without crying. So I might have to pause the video. But I'll let him come on and hopefully I'll reach out to him again. I ain't reached out to him yet because I mean, like, he might be too big time for my little Friday night talks.
You might have to wait until 45 get out of office. You don't want to,
I don't want him to give up no secrets. So I know you are doing the work on that end, but I do keep up with him. I do follow him on Facebook and Instagram. So I still see him. Anytime I get to shout him out, I will. But he's really close with Prince, and they were kind of the two that you knew were gonna be okay. Like y'all gonna be okay. We see that. So
it really magnifies, as in the chat, I'm looking at a question about the ripple effect. It really magnifies that when, even when I'm looking at the screen right now, when I look at you and I look at Savion and then Prince came on and it magnifies the fact that, think that anything you do for somebody else is insignificant. You know, there are times when I just gave somebody a ride, and they are coming back regurgitating things that I said to them almost verbatim. And I'm sitting there like, man, that's some great advice, man. Who gave you that? And they're like, you did. And I'm like, what? I'm like, wow, that's wisdom right there. But I didn't hold on to it because it was just me, just something I did. But they held on to it because the impact it made, that somebody cared enough to share. And that's what I'm seeing, again, as I look at the screen and as I, heard from Prince, and as you talk about Eugene, that's what I hear. And if there's anything that I can share with your listeners is don't take for granted any help or any wisdom that you can share with anybody along the way, because it can make a difference, good or bad. I mean, we've got people that have failed because somebody, burst their bubble when they were in school. You hear that about teachers all the time. Well, some people say, well, a teacher made me succeed because they told me I can't. And you have people that said, well, I failed because a teacher told me I wasn't smart enough to do it. So it does make a difference. It does make a difference. So certainly thank you for this platform, man. This is awesome.
Oh man, no problem. Like, I thought it was needed. Like when we did it, when I swiped it from my buddy, I give him credit. So I'm a doctoral student now, so I gotta give him credit. So my buddy, when he did it, I was like, man, that is good. I'm going to use it, and I'm gonna continue talking to all my people, even when I'm in the White House somewhere. We're gonna still have this. It might be a lot better production, but we're going to be able to.
It would want to be a better production in the White House than with my tax dollars. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But, it might be a better production, but we're still going to be able to have a platform like this to be able to talk to people and share stuff. And then people get to see me and my perspective and how we doing things. And my goal was to make sure that we, like today's topic was, we can see across the lines, like all different ages, all different backgrounds, all Black men, but it's just bringing together, being able to talk, being able to get the wisdom, and being able to pass it down, because you said some of them things in that car with me that I pass on to Sable. It's like I know I be like, man, where I get that from? I ain't that smart. Oh, that was from Sting. That smart. I ain't. But it's good. And then hopefully when Savon is in the right space, he'll be able to pass it on to somebody else, and we just keep the cycle going and be able to have a good community with just good Black men being great for the world. And I appreciate you both. I love you both for all that you both do. Because Savon, don't think that you're not passing things on to me, because I get things from you that in a perspective that I wouldn't have thought of. And I know I make a lot of jokes and I mess with you, but you taught me, you taught me patience about certain situations. You taught me emotional intelligence about myself.
There you go.
Right? I can't react to certain things. And you do a great job with your emotional intelligence when you're handling situations. And I honestly learned some of that from you, and I can't take that from you. So don't think that it goes this way. It's a belt.
Two-way street, yes.
It's a two-way street. I'm not just saying that I'm giving and I'm not receiving, because you definitely giving.
I got a question for both of y'all though. In the past, even within the last few months, I've been asked to be people's mentors, and I personally don't feel like I'm ready. I feel like I got a lot of stuff, that I need to continue to work out. But I know, Brown, in the past, you said, I don't really have everything together. Have you ever felt like, you just got to kind of do it anyway and like figure it out as you go, or should you genuinely just wait for a second?
I'm gonna answer first thing, because I want to hear what you guys say.
Yeah, because I'm about to burst out, right?
I know. Stable, I'm going to give you one thing. When I met Prince, I was 24 years old.
I'm 24 now. Okay.
I'm 24. When I met Prince, and you see Prince now.
Yeah.
So that's my example of, you're never too young to spread what you know, because you are getting fed some certain things that somebody may need. Sometimes, like I told you, sometimes I'm repeating what Sting said to me. And then as I'm repeating it, it's like, oh, dang, I'm talking to myself again. But that knowledge needed to be passed down also, and we can go back and forth. So I always feel like you're not too young, you're not too old. You have a knowledge base that needs to be shared. And some things, your story is your story. Some of the things you went through in your life and how you handle it, and you're still walking and talking and not in jail, that can be shared. So that's something that you can always share with anyone. And then you have a conversation. Because when I met you, I've only shared the experiences that I went through, the struggles that I've had, and the outcomes that they came, good or bad. Like, now you can learn from my mistakes, you can learn from my winnings, you can learn from my accomplishments, or you don't have to take any of it. But you can't say you didn't know. But if you don't tell them, then they don't know.
Yeah, that's true. And obviously I agree with everything. And I will just say, you know, that you tend to never think that you are qualified to impart in somebody else. So if you wait for that time when you say, okay, I got it all, you know, they may be laying you in the ground or putting a tube inside of you where it's too late. I believe that the experiences that we go through and how we get through them, it's worth sharing, good or bad, for others to learn. So no, you're never too young, you're never too old, and your mentorship and your influence on others will change as you change. So the impartation that you make at 24 is going to be totally different when you get to be 30 because you have experienced other activities and situations in your life. The fact that somebody felt the desire to reach out to you already speaks volumes because folks aren't going to reach out to somebody that ain't going nowhere, you know, because they can stay, they can stay stagnant and in neutral by themselves. So the fact that they reached out to you, that says that you're ready. So I would definitely say, and it's not about, I don't want to make mistakes and I don't want to, just be who God made you to be. Those mistakes, as some of the other speakers, I think Les Brown called it, those mistakes he calls education. Those are educational experiences. Yes, because a lot of times they cost him money. So, don't discount them, learn from them and just don't make them again. Because that's when you start talking about insanity, when you do the same thing and, expect different results. So yes, absolutely. It is the right time. The time is now. I will share that, the short assignment that you had with me, that even though you probably didn't view it as impactful, there are a number of folks that came to me years after you left asking, how is that young man that was here, behind your table? How is that Mark? How's he doing? So as I shared your story, connecting through Antwan and of course following you on Facebook, that you were in school, that you were a senior, that you were in photography, that you were graduating, you've got an entourage that you didn't even know about, followers, and all they did was interact with you years ago, on a Thursday night. So, the way you are, the way God made you, and what you do with that says a lot about the influence and impact you can have on not only the next generation, but the future generation. As Antwan shared, he's learned from you just like, you've learned from him. I've learned from Antwan and I've learned from you when we've had our conversations, because things don't work the same way now that they did when I was coming up. And if I am arrogant enough not to make adjustments, then I will no longer be effective in my communication. So I'm still learning at my old age self. Thank you, Antwan.
Older.
So,
age. With that, I'm gonna end the show. I feel like we have pretty much talked. Before I go, hold on, Savon, you want to say anything else before I leave? Because I feel like you just got some mentor wisdom imparted on you tonight. Just make sure you don't have anything else. You're okay before we close.
Well, first, Steen, that was the best summer of my life. I've still been trying to, get that feel in terms of like knowledge, because I went to go stay with Mrs. Brown that summer, and you like since then I've learned how to genuinely look at myself in the mirror and look objectively, think like it doesn't matter like what I genuinely um am wanting. It's about what's right. Sometimes that may align with what I want, or it may not. But trying to make sure that everything is good, everything is good intent, based. And also you did teach me how to. Oh man, do you remember that guy who we sat and spoke to for about a good 2 to 3 hours, and you told me like never let anybody take too much of your time like that ever again.
Yeah, yes.
That has always stuck with me, like always. And
In the
it
business
kind of,
community, we call them time vampires. They
Yeah,
come
he
into your
told me
life and they suck up
that after
every
Tuesday, man.
moment that
oh
you have.
man, and that thing was exhausting too. So I've learned how to just kind of nicely say, I appreciate everything you're saying, but I got some other things that I want to go ahead and take care of. And I'm learning how to do that with a little bit more grace now, especially with the work that I'm doing in bankruptcy. So it's very I don't want you to feel like nothing that you or I spoke about that summer was not impactful, because it very much was.
I wouldn't have sent you there if I didn't think you was gonna get something out of that. By the way,
Absolutely. Carrollton Enterprises,
yeah,
always,
we
always.
understand what's going on. But okay, well, with that, man, like I said, guys, I love you both, man. You guys
Thank you too,
have
sir.
both imparted some things in my life, and I move forward with you two in spirit. And every time I talk to Avery, because Avery's the next man up, and when I talk to Ski,
Yeah.
Ski was on last week. Steen, I don't know if you
Yes,
saw.
sir.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, man. If you would, he
I
talked
probably would
about
have cried on that one, so maybe it was good that I didn't miss it.
he was he was talking about his business, and it's if you'd asked him 3 years ago to speak up on his business like he did last week, it made a father proud. So
Wow. Wow.
I'm excited about where it's going. I know we in these trying times, but anytime I talk to Savon, anytime I talk to Skeet, and I listen to you, Steen, I realize like we still have a base where we can grow from and make this thing right, turn this
Yes.
thing right, and make it
Yes.
successful.
Well,
So,
congratulations to you both, man. I'm very proud of both of the successes, the continuous success that you all are doing. And I love you guys. And again, thank you, Antwan, for all that you're doing in the community and, with your network. And I am honored and pleased to be here. So thank you.
no problem, man. Well, hey guys, that's it for me. Don't forget to go out and vote. Get your mail-in ballots. October the 20th is the Maryland push. So make sure you get your mail-in ballots. It's a two-step process. So you got to get it. You got to fill out for it. It's going to come to you. Sign it. Some of the things that we heard on my last meeting with the Democratic Central Committee was that please sign it in black ink. All right. If you have a senior that needs some help, somebody reach out to me, let me know, because I think they're doing some things where you can kind of be a proxy for them. It's a whole form. I gotta get a little more information for it, but if you have some seniors that may need some help and you need me to contact them to how they need to do their ballot. But the push is right now mail-in ballots. Make sure you get your mail-in ballot. We are less than 60 days to the election. The first debate, I think, is September the 8th, presidential debate on 9th. Ooh, I might be pushing Felicia and her skills in a bind to see that one. But I think the first presidential debate is coming up, and then shortly after that, the vice president debate is coming out right after that. So make sure y'all guys check that out. I am excited, I guess, about what we're looking like. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Like we in this country as Black people, we are moving in this space where we're looking for a tear down of the foundations, kind of a rebuild, but not all the way a tear down. So it's in this weird space, and I just want to be one of the people that helps with small things and bring in my mentor and my mentees on that was one small thing that I can help. If you don't have a mentor, please go get yourself a mentor. And the first presidential debate is September the 29th. Thank you, Felicia. So if you don't have a mentor, get you a mentor. And I think Steen said it earlier, it don't really matter where. In business, you should have somebody that you consulting with. In your school life, if you're in school, and your workspace, if you got somebody you talk to so you can strive to get to new heights, it just helps with the embetterment of you as a person. So like always, guys, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for joining me on my Friday night talk. I look forward to it next week. Still trying to get my lawyer friend on. So Wilbon, I'm calling you out. I need you on so we can talk about our rights as protesters and things like that. So if you want to join me, please, you know I do this every Friday night. Shoot me a quick Facebook message. If you got my number, shoot me a text, say you want to be on. Let's work something out. Send me some topic ideas. If we got topics, let's do that. I need some more topic ideas. Some of the things we can talk about. This was a good one tonight. I appreciate y'all. See y'all next week.